Right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday and welcome to our workshop on how to market your Xero firm effectively. I want to thank you all very much for joining us this morning and hope that you enjoy today's session. I'd like to introduce our guest and presenter this morning, Anthea from BizInc.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Yeah. I'm really excited. Thanks so much for having me on and for letting BizInc present a bit about our marketing tips. So I'll get into a bit more in a session what we're going to cover over in this session today, and a few other resources and things we'll send to you. But just a big thank you to everyone, to Xero, and for you guys for taking the time to invest and take the time here to learn a bit more as well. So I briefly mentioned during the housekeeping as we're all getting set up that this will be recorded. We'll send out an email afterwards. We also have Diane from BizInc on hand on the session today if you do have any questions about Zoom or anything. And I just want to reiterate that I'd love this to be a workshop session, an interactive session. So please open up that chat, that Q&A, get familiar with how it works. Send us a hey, good morning from wherever you are in probably New South Wales or Queensland, I'm guessing. And just get familiar with that because I'll be asking a few questions as we go. So that'd make it a really valuable session today, hopefully. So just a bit about me before we kick off as well. I'm Anthea, I'm from BizInc, and we specialise in websites and digital marketing for accountants and bookkeepers. And we actually have a little bit of a niche in Xero partners as well. We've worked with quite a few across the world. So we've got a few tips that should be particular to you guys and your firms. Thanks, Vincent. Good morning from Sydney. I'm in Brisbane. So it's a nice day here, and good to have you on board. So we'll keep this session pretty high level today. We're just going to focus on effective marketing that's going to work for you all. So we're going to have, I'm assuming, firms here today of different sizes and different stages. So what we're discussing today, I'll just click on to the next slide, is the formula for effective marketing. So that's marketing, like I mentioned, going to work no matter what size of firm, no matter what type of firm, no matter what stage you're at in your business journey as well. So effective marketing is, this formula on screen. It's knowing who you want to work with and really defining that. So we'll get into that first, and then building a strategy around that. So what's the plan to actually go after them? And then, keep score, define what success actually looks like in terms of that marketing plan, and keep score along the way. So I'll show you a few ways to do that. And we'll give you some ways to find marketing ideas. You don't have to be the most creative person. There's a few shortcuts or just tips, we've got for you to get some marketing ideas. And lastly, be a hedgehog. I'll explain that a bit more when we get to it, but really that's about focus. So let's get started. So the main thing I want you to take away from today is to understand your target market. So send me a message in the chat if you don't mind. Let me know, do you have a target market? Are you clear on who your ideal client is? If so, let me know who that is. So use that chat panel to let us all know. Thanks, Diane. Diane's put the question in for you there so we can see as we go. Successful marketing really does rely on understanding what it's like to stand in the shoes of your ideal client. So really this is about empathy, right? Like this is understanding who you're going after and what they're thinking about, what makes them tick, what keeps them up at night, what they worry about, what they dream about. So it's really all about emotions. And that might sound a little weird, but that is what is going to drive people to make decisions. It's what's going to drive people to change accountants or to stick with you, or it's just what really matters to them. So if you're going to go after them, you do need to understand that. So this is awesome. We've got some messages already, mainly medical and professional clients. So that's good. That's understanding a niche, a type of client. So that's fantastic, Imran, that you've narrowed in on that. We'll get a bit more into this in a second, but it's really good to hear that some of you have started on that journey. Some people will be at different stages of that journey, maybe just trying to pick one, or maybe years in working with a niche. So that's fantastic. I think if I had to pick one piece of advice for you all today, it would be to what's on screen here. Focus on your ideal client. Focus your efforts on a client that you really do like working with. and really, intimately understand what that ideal client cares about. And I know this might sound really simple, but it's pretty rare that we find a firm really nailing this. So, and I think it's hard, right? It's hard to see, when you're a technician, it's kind of hard to see your business from the outside, or to see how, like on screen in the shoes of an ideal client, how they might be thinking or feeling about this. When you're so either deep in doing the work or just close to your business, it's hard to see it from a different perspective. I do understand that. So as a result, it can be quite tempting to do marketing based on what you think people need, and what you see they could really benefit from. I know that's a sort of a classic, I guess, little trap to fall into, in that we know they could really benefit from this service. We might want to go talk about that, but where are they sort of at? Try and understand what they're thinking about. So the most effective marketing, the most successful firms, or successful businesses, not just accounting firms, in any profession, they're going to invest heavily, invest time, money, effort, energy into understanding who their ideal client is and what it's like to be in their shoes. So I know I've spent a bit of time on this, but if you take nothing else away from today, this is the one thing that I would encourage you to do. So it's good that some of you have already down that track as well. So before we go any further, I just want to clarify exactly what we're talking about today, exactly what marketing is. In my time working with accountants and bookkeepers, I have seen a bit of confusion about this. So the definition, we got it on screen. It's simply about what you're doing to attract and retain your ideal client. So that's about the strategy and then the plans to, who you're going to sell to, what you're going to sell to them, and where and when you're going to do that selling, essentially. And for existing clients, it's about what you're doing to keep them loyal to you and keep them buying more products and services, or keep them engaged. So I'm going to do a poll here, Diane, if you could launch this. So I just want to pause and ask you a question about what you think your biggest marketing challenge is at the moment. This will help us, maybe tailor a few resources for you as well, but just so I can understand where people are at. So we just want to know what your biggest marketing challenge is. Oh, I'll see if I can do the poll. Sorry, just launch this. So you should see that on screen. Let me know though if you can't. So we're asking, what's your biggest marketing challenge? Can you, maybe it's, I can't find the time to do marketing. I don't know what to focus on. I don't know where to start with marketing. Maybe you feel you don't have the marketing skills, or you just hate marketing, so you're avoiding it. And yeah, we survey accountants all the time. So these seem to be the common answers. And thank you so much for all the people that have answered so far. I'll leave it up for a few more seconds and then I'll show you all the answers. So if anyone else would like to pop their answer in, feel free to. I see it all moving around on my screen. I'll let you know the results in a second. So we'll get into, maybe some common themes. You're definitely not alone in how you're feeling in this, because I'm going to end that and show you all the results now. So I don't know where to start. I know when we first started chatting, started planning this session and chatting, we were talking about what people struggle with, right? And these were coming up a bit, weren't they? So I think this resonates with what we've seen, and you in talking to your partners probably as well. Hey, so I don't know where to start is pretty common, and knowing what to focus on as well, very similar, right? And then just time is always a struggle. So I'll stop sharing that. Thanks so much to everyone who answered that. What I'm going to do, I think marketing can be something that's pretty easy to, I guess, shy away from or get a bit scared about, right? It's can be this big confusing thing, or just, where do you start? It's hard to know, right? So, or even sometimes it's just a time thing. It might just be if you want to work on it, but it's slowly going towards the end of the to-do list because, you've got clients to work on, and, we've all had a hectic few years. So today's session will address, not knowing where to start and not knowing what to focus on. So it really is going to be, a high level session on those two topics mainly. So I just want to reiterate that you really, you should put time and effort into this. And obviously you guys are on this session today, so it is important to you. So it's good to see. But marketing is important, particularly, I know probably a bunch of you, let me know in the chat if I'm right or wrong, but probably most of you are still growing, mainly because of referrals. Let me know if that's right. We seem to see that as still a fairly strong source of growth for businesses. But so you might be getting a steady stream of referrals, and that's fantastic. But we know that word of mouth can be, unpredictable. It's relying on someone else when they, can and will refer to you. So it also might not be delivering the right type of clients if we're thinking about ideal client as well. So it's totally tied to how many clients you have and how many referral partners you have, and it's just waiting on somebody else to refer when they think of it. So good marketing, as in contrast, is about developing a system so that you can go after a specific target. You can get the clients you want, and it's not relying on you necessarily, or definitely not on other external people either. So if you combine word of mouth with good marketing, your growth will be significant. So that's why really my point here is to emphasize marketing is important. So it's good that you're all here investing time into learning about it. Click on to the next slide. So you will notice that I keep talking a lot about ideal client, and that's because it's really important, and it's because marketing to everybody is marketing to nobody. The most successful firms out there will have a laser focus on who they're working with, who they most enjoy working with. Sometimes this can be called niching or specialization. It's all the same thing. It's about focus. So there's a few tips I have for you on working out who that might be. It might be like a profession. Imran mentioned medical businesses, right? Practices. Or it might be, something more like a horizontal focus. So we have seen firms that focus on businesses with, inventory, for example. So, it can obviously help if you do have clients in the niche you're picking. You will have some understanding and some experience there and be able to demonstrate that when you talk to them. So if you do have clients in your niche already, that could help. I'd also recommend obviously picking one that you do like working with. This might sound silly, but think about the types of clients that might fall into those businesses as well. And, maybe go after them. And sometimes a good way to start with this, if you're very early days on this sort of process, is to think about who you don't like working with as well. So there's sort of two lists we're making here, who we like working with and who we might prefer to avoid. And you're just looking at characteristics between the two. And just another quick tip from me on this is that small business owners isn't really a target market. That's still the majority of businesses in Australia. So it's just not narrow enough. So it can be a good place to start, but really you need to do a bit of time and digging in to find out what really is, the people you'd like to work with. The other thing that we suggest at BizInc is it doesn't have to be niching your whole firm. It could just be, it's niching your marketing is what we really recommend. So that's you might try, a 3 or 6 month campaign towards, medical practices or construction or something else. I'm just picking industries for this session, but it's not set in stone. You could try for a few months at something. But the key really is to focus with it. So I would take the time up front to really think about who you're working with, because if you're picking several and changing all the time, you really don't have the time or the resources to do them justice. So I'd really try and go as narrow as you can. But obviously it doesn't mean that you just because you try a 6-month campaign to construction businesses, it doesn't mean that, if you get a referral from a medical practice, or if you, just another business finds you and it seems like a good fit, you can for sure still work with them. It's your business, it's your call. It really is about who fits with your work. But I'm just talking about marketing can be good to niche it like that. And Diane's going to put a link in the chat to some resources we found on the Xero website. So Xero has some good resources if you want to do some marketing around a niche, particularly industries like construction. I think they've got e-commerce, hospitality, that sort of stuff. So you could go to the market with an offering of your service plus technology with Xero and and add-ons as well, as you'd all be across. So the Xero website has some good tips on that sort of stuff if you are going to do some niche marketing. So I feel like that's a good place to start as well. So I mentioned earlier that we survey accountants a lot. So every time the result is fairly similar on this one, that about 2/3 of firms don't have a marketing plan. And I know that most of you here today would probably be telling your clients to get a business plan. I think that would be right. And for all the same reasons, you should have a marketing plan. You really can't expect good results without, putting the time and effort into planning, or at least planning the strategy. So we have a few tips on this as well. We can send you resources in a second, but our plan shouldn't be some big, long Word document that you never look at again. You spend all time putting together and then it never gets out of the bottom drawer. It should be simple, 1 page is fine, actionable, obviously, and regularly updated. So we've actually collaborated with Xero to create a marketing blueprint, which is based on all those principles I just mentioned. We want it to be short and easy to use and cover, ideal client and all the things we've just been going over. So it is designed specifically for accountants and bookkeepers. It's even got a section on referrals and that sort of stuff. So it's a simple PDF download. We'll put a link into the blueprint and send that out in the resources afterwards as well. So it's really easy to update to. I do view it as a living document that, as you learn more about who you're going after, or just what marketing might work for you, come back and edit that. And I'd be more than happy to chat with anyone through that blueprint if they would like. I'll send you links afterwards. Towards the end of the session, we'll get a bit more into that. But if you want to talk through that with someone, I'd be more than happy to. But I would just say that it is, it is something that you guys need to be responsible for. Like, you do need to define the strategy of your firm. You need to tell us or a marketing company or your team who you're going after. So that does have to be in your court, just to be clear about that. So hopefully that resource would help. We'll send you that out afterwards. I know that most people do struggle with working out if their marketing is working or not, or what marketing to focus on. We know lots of firms don't really define what success is in marketing. It's like playing sport without keeping score, like this slide is trying to show. So with digital marketing, there's like millions of things you could track, right? There's so many things you can measure, and it's hard to know what to focus on. What do you actually want to track? So we have a few key ones we'd recommend. So you obviously want to measure how many clients your marketing is generating, but there's a lot that happens between launching a marketing campaign and getting a client. So it can be, quite confusing. But we like to track at BizInc things like, obviously, number of leads and the number of sales meetings booked, whatever you call that, initial consultations or similar, because they tell you what results to expect. So, based on historical conversion rates, we tend to find that most accountants and bookkeepers have a pretty good conversion rate, as in if they can get into a meeting with you, that initial consultation, and they're a good fit, they're highly likely to become a client. That's what we've found. Let me know if that's different for you, but we found that, the hard part is more so getting them into that initial meeting, which is the hard part across business, right? So that's always the battle. But I would, back to my point, is to focus on how many leads are we getting, how many meetings are we getting, how many clients are we getting. There's millions of things you can look at, like website visitors and social media likes, and to us they're sort of vanity metrics in a way. That they're definitely less important. You may be able to prove that they have influenced real business metrics, but often we find they're not so important. We're actually developing what we're calling a scorecard, a marketing scorecard, so you can define the success and track it. So let me know if you'd like a copy. If you could just type into the chat like scorecard, so I can, something like that. I'll if you're interested in something like that, we can send it out to you. We're close to launching that. So just let me know if you're interested in resources like that. Awesome. Got a few already. Cool. I'll just keep moving. So far, I've been focusing on the strategic elements, but I want to focus for a second on some real marketing tactics that you can take away from today. I might just send the scorecard to everyone when I have it. It's probably easier. Sorry. Thanks a lot. wasn't thinking straight, sorry. I'll send it to everyone. I've got the list of everyone. So yeah, awesome. It seems pretty popular. So yeah, some marketing tactics you can take away from today. We've got this Picasso quote on screen here: good artists copy, great artists steal. Like Picasso, the best marketers out there are going to be, looking elsewhere for their ideas. And it's pretty hard to find, maybe impossible to find original marketing ideas now. So there's no point reinventing the wheel, trying to be super creative when it's just better to be consistent. So there's heaps of tactics out there that are proven to work, so start with them. So I've got a few ideas on where you could go to get marketing ideas. I would suggest to start with marketing books. So there's thousands on Amazon or Audible and things like that, and you might look at reviews to find the best ones, or we do have some suggestions as well. You could also look at other industries. It doesn't always have to be looking at a local accounting firm or something. You might see something good on TV or on the internet. You could see how you could adapt that. If it's something that's called out to you, it might be worthwhile repeating or adjusting for your market. But the same goes for suppliers, vendors, software, whatever in our industry. So Xero is obviously an obvious example. Now they're at a different size and scale to most of our firms, right? But they do have a big budget, but they do great marketing. So what can you learn from them? You might also, there's plenty of specialists in marketing for accounting and bookkeeping firms, like our team at BizInc, and we give away heaps of stuff. Like we've got a free resources section on our website. We do things like ebooks and website reviews and things like that. So we've got a lot of this stuff for free to download, which we can send you as well. But that might give you an idea for what you can do. How do you apply that to your market? What could you give away to engage a potential client? Our CEO actually writes a weekly email called the BizInc Bulletin with marketing tips. So I'll send you, or Diane's put a link to that, but I can send it out afterwards as well. I really do recommend it. It's a short, snappy email every week, quick little tips, and it's very focused on our profession. I mean, there's heaps of ideas. You can listen to podcasts, probably a bunch of you do as well. So feel free to share that stuff as well. But let us know if you're interested in those sorts of things. But they're really good places to, if you're looking, look at people who are doing successful marketing and see what they're doing and how can I apply that in my firm. So what I'm going to do is give you actually an example you can steal from me today. I know back to our poll and also just our surveys that many people don't know where to start with marketing. So I'm going to give you one you can hopefully execute today or very soon anyway. So it's a campaign that I've seen some of our clients do with really good results. So what you do is ask yourself, what 5 questions do clients always ask me? Let me know in the chat if you've got a few that get asked time and time again, because I'm certain there are questions that get repeated, and it's probably, can I claim this as a tax deductible expense or something like that, I'm assuming. But that could be one of them. Write down the questions that clients are asking time and time again. And then write a few bullet points as to what's the answer for those 5 questions. And then you've got all the content ideas you need for months and maybe years of marketing. Robert said, how much does a tax return cost? Yeah, I can assume that's probably it. But try and think about the ones that maybe you don't have them off the top of your head now, but next time a client asks, add it to a doc or at least to start building this campaign. And then what we're going to do with that is turn this into a campaign. So there's quite a few ways you can actually use this for literally months of marketing. So I'm going to talk you through how to do that. So I would start by writing a blog about each question and its answer. And, that's because if clients are asking you these questions, I'm sure there's other business owners out there thinking about them too. Even better if you do have a niche, because there might be real specific questions, but definitely just start with the sort of common ones. And, people could be Googling this stuff. So if you put it on your blog, your website could come up as a resource there. It could be a good way to rank for a particular search term. So they're really good because if you do have clients that are asking you time and time again these questions, or different clients asking the same questions more so, you can just save you time and send a link to the answer where you've stepped it through. We have clients that record a video to answer that stuff. There's heaps of things you can do, but at the very least, it's going to be a time saver for you. So once you have those blogs written, what I'd do is I'd send an email out to your clients and prospects with them. So that could be a one-off email. We call them email blasts. So just, we get this question asked all the time, here's the answer, that sort of thing. Or it could be a section in your email newsletter. So if you do like a monthly thing, that could be good just to each week have a Q&A, or each month, sorry, have a Q&A. We do know that email marketing is the highest performing digital marketing for accountants. So definitely recommend it. And we can help you with that if you're not set up on a tool like MailChimp or something like that. So once you've sent the email, I would also look at social media. So I would be creating at least 3 social media posts about each one of those blogs. So that's 15 social media posts pretty quickly. You can pull out from those blogs you've written. And when you post that on social media, link back to your website with the blog on it. So it's just all linking back to valuable content on your site, and you can just repost that, recycle, repurpose that content time and time again. It's evergreen content probably, unless the questions are really timely about something. But if you choose sort of broader year after year ones, that'll be a marketing campaign with longevity, basically. And I'd also then advocate for having a lead magnet on your site. So a lead magnet is something you offer on your site. You would have seen these around the web, like ebooks and things like that you can download if you enter your email address. So they're gated behind a form. So they work really well if it's a valuable enough piece for people to enter their email address, if that hook is strong enough. So obviously the constraint with creating an ebook or creating a download, often that's time. I just don't have the time to do that, right? So the good thing about this is you've written those 5 blogs, so you have to turn that into your ebook content, and you've got at least 5 pages there. It could be like a quick little downloadable resource as well, but it's a good way to turn website visitors into leads rather than just a website that's like a brochure. It can be something that's actually generating inquiries as well. And then what I do is something like we're doing today, like a webinar or event of some form. We've seen this is a tried and true tactic, events for accountants. So obviously webinar might replace the in-person event if COVID's playing up, but you could just do a Q&A session online, and you have 5 or more to start with anyway if you're not going to do a live session. So from that simple idea, this questions thing, we've spun up a whole marketing campaign around that. So it doesn't take much, and the good thing is that it's not like one and done. You can use it. The questions are probably going to stay the same year to year, so you can keep repeating it. So I hope you'll give that a try and let me know how you go. At least start thinking about common questions and save yourself some time in putting that on a website or a Word doc or whatever it is to keep answering that. So we've got a question. Obviously that does rely on a website. I would say that a good website is a marketing essential. You can start like word of mouth and referral type stuff the minute you start business pretty much, but you're going to want a website pretty soon after that. And the reason is, it's pretty much, it's the center of the marketing world. So in that campaign I was talking about, everything was linking back to the website. It really is a hub for your marketing. So at the very least though, if you get a referral, before they contact you, they're very likely to Google you, even if it's just your name, a company name, or whatever it is. Most people, we all do our stalking, right? Most people are going to look you up, and even if they don't know really what they're looking for, we found we do websites for accountants across the world, and we looked at the stats, and the team page was the second most popular page after the homepage, obviously. So that's pretty clear that people like to see who they're going to be working with, or at least put a face to the name that they've been referred to. So even just from the referrals point of view, it can seal the deal with that. So if it's only that convinces you to get a website, that should be pretty strong. But if you're going to look at marketing and want to grow, it's going to be the hub for that stuff. You can do blogging. We've got automated social media. We've got email marketing built in. So you can do a lot of stuff from a website. It really is essential nowadays. Plus, if you're small, if you're just starting out, it can make you look, you can position yourself. It could make you look a bit better than you are or bigger than you are. You can do some positioning on there, and it doesn't take a huge budget to get a good site nowadays. There's plenty of website builders and things like that out there, or you could go with a specialist like us. If you do have a website and want some feedback on it, we're going to paste a link to our our Xero website audit. So this is obviously for Xero firms in particular. We'd also recommend, a few things like, obviously, if you're a Xero partner, we'd recommend you put details about Xero, at the very least your Xero, partner badge. I would link to a page about Xero from your directory, the Xero directory, sorry. So there's a few tips like that we can give you in that audit. That's what I'd recommend if you do have a website currently. I've just seen a question from Imran, because it's about websites. Just give me a sec. If I want to niche, is it better to keep the website as general and mention the specialties, or the entire website should be showing the niche only? So good question. You'll see the one on screen here is Experian Medical. I've only just got a screenshot of it, but I can send you a thing later. So it is up to you, and it depends how early you are in the journey of picking that niche. If you've really decided we're definitely going after them, or if it's still, early days. Probably what most people do is, if they're sort of still deciding or whatever, is do a website and then have some pages on those specialties. Definitely that at a minimum, because that will help you do marketing to them. So, it could be specialties or industries or something like that, like one of the tabs, and then, a drop down, and on that page, it would talk really clearly to that market. It would talk about, their pain points, and that you understand them, and how you help solve them, and all the stuff we went through at the start, and all the stuff that's in that blueprint document. But if you are really set on going after medical practices or whoever it is, and you really want to do that, then for sure go after them and make it clear from the second that they land on your website that you are for them, like this example on screen, which I'll send you more. But maybe we can chat a bit more, Imran. I've got tons of examples of different ways to do that. So it's a really good question. Thank you. I'll just keep it moving. I'm just conscious of time as well. So my last point is be a hedgehog. And not a fox. Basically, this comes from a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. Some of you may have read it. Basically, he talks about analogy of hedgehog versus the fox. I don't know if that can substitute for an echidna in Australia or not, but basically the fox is wily, right? It's continually trying to attack the hedgehog with all these different sort of cunning, wily tricks. But it doesn't work, because the hedgehog has one trick, and that's curl up into a ball and rely on its pointy spikes, or quills, I think they're called. But the difference is the hedgehog's trick actually works. It does one thing and it works, and it only needs to be good at one thing. The fox is trying to be good at so many. And that's exactly the same with marketing. The best strategy, the best strategy is a good strategy executed consistently. The best firms are like hedgehogs, and they stick to their proven strategies. We know we like to work with so-and-so, and we know that they hang out here, so we go and get in front of them with this messaging that speaks to them. I know I'm making it sound simple, but it does need to be simplified like that, because marketing can be confusing. So unfortunately, we see many foxes out there. We see, sort of this tendency to jump from, one shiny thing to the next, and probably never persisting long enough with one thing to see if it really works. So I think, trying to be creative, I wouldn't spend too much time trying to think of some big original idea. You can see this with Xero, focus on what they do good. You can see this with big brands. I was thinking of this session, I was thinking of, there's certain companies, like you'll just see the same ads on TV, right? Ad break after ad break. And I was thinking about the Olympics, that Woolworths ad got in my head. that song just, repeats and repeats, right? And that's because they know what works. They have their formula and they stick to it. So hopefully I've shown you what that formula is. I'm just recapping it on screen here. That's pick who you want to work with, build a plan and focus on them, and don't get distracted by, the newest marketing trend that might come up. It might be worth looking at, but it's the tried and tested things that will deliver for you. So I know that this all sounds very simple. We'll send a few more resources relating to this. What I will just quickly say that I know the formula isn't really complicated, but I have been simplifying it today. I'm not going to pretend that marketing is now easy. You obviously have some good resources out there, Xero particularly as well, very supportive with their partner managers, obviously, this session today. But there's specialists out there for helping in this. Obviously, BizInc is one of them. So if you're wanting to chat, I will send you a link to chat with me if you would like. I'm happy to talk through. I think probably the best place to start with all of you is a marketing plan. But I've also got my email on screen there. If you'd like to drop me a line directly, I'm very open to having a chat with any of you. So I think that pretty much wraps it up today. There's some time for questions if anyone has any, but I will just remind you that we are going to send recording, we'll send the resources and all that sort of stuff out. And if you have a question at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or chuck it in the chat right now. We've got allocated time now to chat. Just see if there's any coming through. What I might do as well is send a few resources about websites. So we've obviously worked with quite a few Xero partners. So we could, it could be a whole webinar in itself to talk about specific things you could have on your website to promote that Xero expertise. What we usually do is a section on the homepage called partners or something like that, where you can feature partner badges or that sort of stuff. And then also a dedicated page to talk a bit more about Xero. We'll cover all this stuff in the Xero website audit, which Diane's got the link to. But then I'd also think about what other resources could you be doing. So at BizInc, we created a Get Started with Xero course. So this is for businesses that are just getting started, and it uses resources that Xero already have. So Xero have great videos on their YouTube channel about this sort of stuff. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can obviously, record your own video if you've got something to add to it, or if you've got, maybe a niche and you might want to talk about something in particular. It really does all stem from that very first slide about ideal client, right? That will help you work out a lot of those things. So once you have a website, it doesn't just have to be, put the Xero partner badge on it. There's a lot of things you can do without having to spend ages in inventing all these resources. So hopefully that helps around, what else you can add to your website as well. Got a good question from Anthony. From a marketing perspective, is there anything we should not do? Straight up marketing no-nos. It's a good question. Don't think I have a marketing no-no that I know of. Actually, I was talking yesterday to some people who were thinking about some outbound marketing. So outbound marketing is like contacting people that don't know you, right? So it's the opposite of just sitting back and waiting for someone to contact you, like it kind of is with referrals. You're relying on other people. So outbound marketing is definitely a yes. Definitely go reach out to people, and you will have to if you want to grow, very likely. But it's just how you do that might. Obviously, there's spam laws and things, so that's a no-no, not to spam, but and also buying a list. It might sound obvious, but we do get asked these questions. Should I buy a list of small business owners? No, obviously it's not right in terms of spam laws anyway, but it's just not going to work effectively. It's what's going to work best is to have people that have given their permission to be on your list. So I think probably most firms, a certain size, I guess we're talking here, the smaller firms, probably wouldn't have a very big list or like database of potential clients that they're talking to. Definitely ones that have opted in anyway. That can be hard to do. So that's why I would highly recommend a lead magnet, which is, I gave the example of an ebook. You'll see these if you go to the Bizing website, or probably any successful B2B website. They'll have a free download, something like that, to get the email address. So that's a lead magnet. And the reason they do that is because they get your opt-in, they get your permission, they know what you're interested in, contact details, you can then contact them, right? So it's definitely a better way to do that, is to send them an email. You could cold call if you want, but we wouldn't necessarily recommend that. So send them an email, just a one-to-one email. So that's the yes. The no is, opt thousands of people into a newsletter that they never signed up for. That's definitely a no-no. So send them an email one-to-one. So from your inbox to theirs, it's a genuine business email that you would be happy to receive. That's usually what I say in terms of, what to write in that email or how to word it. What would you be happy to receive? And what do you want your business to sort of reflect, if you know what I mean? Like what are you putting out there into the world on, in terms of that? So I would be, if you're going after medical practices, contact them, or if you're going after tradies, contact the tradie. Like obviously it's not just this scattergun approach to everyone. So send them an email one-to-one, let them know about your specialty, that you focus on businesses like this, that you understand their pain points. So you might, if it's construction, you might talk about how they can get paid faster using Xero or something like that, and you understand that that's a struggle for them. And then you might send them a free resource about that. So here's our top tips on, we use one all the time, the pay now button on Xero. Obviously that's a Xero sort of focused one, which would make sense to start with for you guys as well. That might be a link to your website where they can download that sort of information. Then you've got their opt-in. You can add them to your newsletter list and keep in touch with them in an automated bulk way then. So that was a very long-winded answer to your question, but that's just one thing I've thought of. But I might think of that a bit more and chat to our CEO, because we sent a link earlier to the Bizing Bulletin where he does the weekly marketing tips. So that could be a good, something we could explore a bit more there as well. So if there are any last minute questions, just let us know and I'll answer them while we're here. If not, feel free to send me an email. I'm more than happy to chat to you all. I really hope this has been a good session though. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen and to interact. It's been great to see you all in the chat, and I hope you found it useful. Do let me know your feedback, and if there's anything else that comes up as you think about this in the coming weeks, do just let me know. Awesome. Thanks everyone for your feedback. Is there anything else you guys would like to add, Melisande?
I just put something in there.
Yeah.
Any tips on if you're trying to actually find who your ideal client is? Where would you be looking to go there? Are you looking for, on LinkedIn, like minds? Are you joining a local group, something like that? Like how are you building your ideal client?
Yeah. So do you mean how do I find who I should target, or I know I'm okay? Yep.
And then once you know, how would you maybe an idea or two of how to get there?
Yeah, good question. And we do get it a bit as well. So yeah, there really is probably two parts. If it's like, I don't know who to focus on, I just like working with small businesses, or, I like working with everyone, which is fine too. Variety can still be what you want in your business. That's totally fine. I'm not saying I'm picking on medical today, but I'm not saying you have to pick something that niche. It could be something, a common thread like inventory I mentioned, or something like that. Really, it does come down to you. So you do need to spend some time thinking about, who do I like working with? That would be point number one. Point number two is who do I not like working with? I'll see if we have a few more resources on that as well. There's tons of things out there on that sort of stuff, but a few accounting and bookkeeping specific ones. I know we've probably got webinars on this topic particularly that I can send if anyone's particularly interested in terms of how do I work that out. But that really is in your court to think about that. And that's not something, I'm not going to pretend that's going to happen overnight necessarily. That might take a few years of business to work that out, or if you don't know who you don't like working with, it might unfortunately take a bad client to work that out, right? Like there's going to be an experience to have led to that. So it's not going to happen day one. I understand that. So take your time with it. There's different things you can do if you're just starting out. Maybe a local sort of thing might work better, or a Xero thing. But don't feel locked into that niche either. Like it's not set in stone. Like I mentioned, it's really choosing a marketing niche, not necessarily a company-wide niche, unless you're really clear that you want to go down that track. But once you, one more thing, I can't stop talking. Once you've got the, once you know who the ideal client is, it should all fall out from that. You should know, okay, hospitality businesses, they promote a lot on Instagram or whatever. Like I'm just picking that one out, or, they're not so much on LinkedIn or whatever. So it should all fall out from that. But there should be a lot of information online about that sort of stuff now.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks, Anthea, for your time. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Look out for Anthea's email that's coming with all the resources that we mentioned. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Otherwise, Anthea's details are on the slide or will be sent to you as well.